What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Williams. I'm an independent filmmaker and producer north of Boston, and today on The Nick Williams Show, we have a very special guest who drove a long way to be here, producer and writer and a very good friend, Seth Chitwood. Seth, how's it going, man? Thanks for driving up.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. No problem at all.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, I'm excited too. I think it's
dressed to impress today.
You look great.
Thank you.
Great. I like the sweater.
It is a TJ Maxx.
Special?
Special, yes. Yeah.
We can go back to the beginning, though, to start, if you want.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to know about you. I'd like to know about all the stuff that I like from before graffiti. You know, like where did you get? So okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm a nut. You know I'm crazy.
Like, how far back are we going? January 25th, 1991. A baby popped out of a vagina, and then I never saw one ever again.
Lovely. Good.
And I don't want to. No.
Well, hey, there you go. So the what's it called? Where did you? At what point in your life did you want to do film?
I think.
Like, how did that? Give me that story.
All right, so I started off as a theater kid, and as a lot of people, a lot of artists, surprise. And I was thrust into theater like professionally. I was doing 2 back-to-back years in A Christmas Carol at Trinity Rep, and I don't know if you know the Trinity Rep. It's an equity theater in Providence. It's really well known. They do A Christmas Carol every year, and they do 25 performances of 1,000 people, and
yeah, like No Show Music Theater in the round kind of.
Yeah, so I did that, and then kind of got the bug, and that's when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old, and then I did high school stuff, and I wanted to be an actor, and I went to Wagner College on Staten Island for my freshman year for musical theater. Mm-hmm. I can sing. I don't know if you know that about me.
I do.
And I was torn apart there at this prestigious school, and I realized I can't dance, and they would tear me apart, and I got super anxiety about performing and stuff. And then I went to Rhode Island College to try and figure that out, and then halfway through I was like, I don't want to be an actor, I want to be behind the camera. And one thing that was always a constant for me was I loved storytelling. I loved writing scripts. I loved creating worlds and inviting people into them. And so I really started to fall into this film idea. Mm-hmm. In my senior year of high school, I had done my first kind of web series. It was kind of ahead of its time. It was 2009 when they had to explain what a web series was to people. Mm-hmm. It was called The Dreamer, and it was with a bunch of high school kids playing adults, detectives and murder mysteries. And it was basically taking kids from my high school and murdering them and having crime scenes around them and having a horror kind of thing. And then just kind of fell in love with that narrative side. It also started because my parents were both television critics at one point. So I would grow up getting all the press releases for pilots for all these TV shows that failed or were coming out, and we had to review them, and we get the T-shirts and all the press stuff.
All the packages of stuff.
We would grow up with all these different clothes that would have TV logos on them. I think
never made it.
That either did or they didn't, but it was just funny because it was my parents. I think I had a Simpsons lunchbox at one point.
That's
I had
cool.
I was cool, but it was just I realized that a lot of my gifts were and my clothing was starting to come from these press releases. I think my parents saved a ton of money because of the stuff they were getting from these
For free,
yeah.
Right.
So it's just funny because I still to this day I'll see my dad wear some failed Fox cartoon shirt from 15 years ago, and he still uses it in the yard, and I'm like, oh, that's so funny. So I'd watch all these TV shows. For example, we were sent the Grey's Anatomy pilot 6 months before it even came out, and it was I remember watching and being really loving the pilot, and then kept asking my mom when is that show gonna air? When's it? And she's like, sometimes they don't. The pilots don't do well. I'm like, but that was a really good pilot.
Well, yeah, and you were good. You were
right.
There you
go. You're right. Yeah, and I remember I got Lost before it came out.
That's a cool pilot.
Because Grey's Anatomy, Lost, and Desperate Housewives all came out in the same year.
They did?
Yeah, all 3 of them. They were huge hits for ABC, and I remember they all came in pilot season. It was a disc DVD.
Yeah.
And it was watch the first 2 episodes of Lost, the first episode of Desperate Housewives, the first episode of Grey's Anatomy, and I think there was one more, and that was it. And I can't think of what the 4th one was. And I remember watching those 3 and being these are we would throw them on the TV. We'd have a marathon of it.
Yeah.
And I remember being oh, this is so cool. It's so awesome. And then you'd also for Lost, for example, they would have like notes that they weren't done. They'd have it it'd be cool. They'd have like we're missing the effect here, or
that's so cool.
Yeah, or they'd be like, oh, we're gonna have I think they didn't have the scene with the ripped up pilot on the tree or something, if you remember the pilot, and they were like it cut away to black and was like there will be an image of a destroyed pilot ripped up by some monster figure, and then it kept going
that's cool,
which was really kind of cool. And sometimes like for Desperate Housewives, they would like show up, but then there would be like a note that'd be like, we're missing a VO here from
Brenda.
Mary Alice or Brenda Strong. So it was really cool to kind of see that behind the scenes at a young age. But like I grew up knowing like what pilots worked and what didn't, and so I would always between that and then my father also had in our garage these like 4 drawers full of like VHSs of all these black and white like horror and like all these or like sci-fi or dramas from like the 70s and 60s.
Oh, so cool.
And so he'd always like have me like go pull out a random black like cassette tape box and be like, what is this? Because it would always be like numbered, but it wouldn't be like, I'd like pull it out and have to like be like, oh, it's Invasions of the Body Snatchers like 1970 or like whatever. Or
that's cool.
So like I was always just growing up around a lot of that, and so I always had a storyteller brain. And so I was in Rhode Island College. I did my second web series, which was Red Circles. It was kind of a step up from The Dreamer. And how I would kind of do my web series as each episode, I would be like, as long as it's one step up from the last one, that's what mattered. I just wanted to learn. I didn't care. I said, these are like shoestring budgets, kids playing 55-year-olds. Like, I just want to learn.
Sure.
And that's what I did. And I just kind of fell in love with that. And I finished my major with a performance degree, but also a directing degree, which led nowhere, and did not get me a job. And then I had a double major in, I think it was performance and film studies.
Right.
Great. And and then I just started falling in love with just making content. And I mean, I look back and I don't know how I did it because I just feel so old now, but I
feel old too, man.
I look back and I'm like, I was 22 years old doing at one point I was doing 3 web series at once. I was doing This Family Problems, I was doing Lungs, I was doing World's Worst Director, I was like writing a short. I did when I was like every weekend I was always doing something. Every summer, I mean, I would every 4 days a week I was filming. Now to even think of doing more than 2 projects at once makes me want to just get back into bed. But
it's different though, because you have I'm sure you didn't have set accountants back then.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Now you have so much more.
Yeah, it was me with the cinema, the camera and actors and no budget, but I would find these abandoned buildings, and we were very lucky. We found someone let us use a building in Randolph to film, and we had it for a year, and all the rooms were empty, so we set dressed them.
That's so cool.
And we just used that space as a studio and shot a lot of great Family Problem stuff in there and other things. So I've been lucky to kind of the amount of work I've been able to do for free.
Yeah.
On a literally no budget, and just learning from that and perfecting the writing.
I feel that's super overlooked. Just in general, everybody wants to be Hollywood. So not you, but I'm saying in general, there's a mindset for filmmakers that asking for favors or telling I didn't go to college, and you have no idea how many times I've been hey, I'm shooting a student film, and then they're oh, okay, and they just expect you to not have money. So they're okay with that, and it's not I'm chipping anybody. I don't, you know what I mean? But when people are oh, well, we have to look for locations and stuff, and if we just gave them $500 a day, or I'm chill. How about you just ask if we can use the place first? Why don't we start there? And if they say yes, great. And if they say, oh, well, we run a business, let's say you're using a cafe or something, right? Okay, well then we can negotiate something, but that's you negotiate a deal. You don't
No, I mean it's crazy because I still really have that guerrilla indie filmmaking style.
And that's why I wanted to hear.
As I go higher up into this industry, and I really the last 2 years, I mean the pandemic thrust me. So I went to AFI. That was really exciting. I graduated right at the beginning. My final semester was March 2020. So I came back to Rhode Island. I was if the pandemic hadn't happened, I think I still would be in LA. But I came back on March 2020 to be because I have asthma and some severe medical issues. So I wanted to make sure I was home and away from the pandemic. But I thought it was gonna be a 6-week thing. The best thing I did is I packed up all of my stuff in boxes before I left LA just in case. And thank God, because my roommate had to like move me out and send the boxes back. And I had to sell my car was in the AFI parking lot for like 6 months. And then finally we just sold it and haven't gone back to LA since. But for some reason, I think the Zoom world, the virtual world, really thrust a lot of people to have this open mind about hiring a producer from Rhode Island to do something in New York or in Atlanta or in LA. And so I started getting jobs where I would work from the computer, Zoom, do all that stuff, and then just go to New York for the production. But pre-production would be all from Rhode Island or whatever.
Right.
So I just landed a bunch of, jobs the last moving into kind of a different, but to my point is that you're like Principal Assembly was a good example. Even like graffiti, they got away with some stuff, but there were these film sets where you would just they'd be like, okay, we're gonna go to this cafe and we're gonna automatically offer them $1,000. I'm like, well, why don't we just ask them if they'll do it for free first? And then because they might just say yeah, or they might, or like go in with the mentality that like we're doing them a favor, like we're gonna highlight their cafe in our film.
Yeah, we would love to showcase your space.
Right.
Like we've had offers from other people, but we really want your space.
Right.
They love that stuff.
I know. So I was always like, I was always just like, I don't know. It's just so funny. Like now we're talking like insurance. We're talking about like all these all these things, and I'm just like, we don't need all that. Like we don't need a 30-person crew. We don't need a. Like I'm definitely was with what I've done is I'm one with 7 hats. Like I'll always be that producer who also will run around and do all the other things. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. I was doing construction, interior design, project management, and before that was the car business and everything. But I started when I was 11. My dad. I've told this story a million times, but my dad had he started a new business, and he wanted like the web internet was getting bigger or whatever, and he wanted me to make videos for him. And by that I mean like I didn't get dinner unless I made videos for him. Like it was like you're gonna be doing this now, and gave me the camera and I did that stuff. He wasn't that bad. I'm just being dramatic, but and then set me up with like Final Cut Pro, and I was doing Final Cut Pro at 11 years old, like. Editing and all that other stuff. And so it's something that I end up always going back to. So, but we used to live in LA and we moved here in 2009. And then I kind of gave up on the whole Hollywood thing. Like my mom wanted me to be an animator, and there was like a whole bunch of like stuff like that. And then I came here and I was like, there's nothing out here. I lived in Hollywood, not Hollywood, but I lived in LA, and now I live in Massachusetts. And so I kind of gave up on that, went in the car business, did some sales stuff, and then left the car business and started my own company doing the construction, interior design, and everything. And the only reason it was successful, because I had no experience or anything, was because I was making the video, like commercials and video content and everything around that business. And then when the pandemic hit, I got hit up by a bunch of real estate agents, and they wanted nobody wanted to go in other people's homes, but they wanted to see them. So the video, like walkthroughs and everything with agents, with a little lapel, like everything was really big there, and it just launched crazy. And then I started meeting people, and I was like, you can do stuff on the East Coast. And so the past 3 years have been a whirlwind of upward trajectory, a lot of money spent, and living the dream about as far away from LA as I could possibly hope to be. Not that I don't like LA, but I'm not big on the Beverly Hills.
No, I will never go back to LA and live there. I was always, even when I was there for 2 years, I was such a New Englander at heart, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to live here full time. I went up to, do you remember Kate Carson and Justin Golightly? They were filmmaker, and maybe they're like right around the time you came in and they kind of left, but they live in Santa Clarita.
Oh, okay.
And they were filmmakers here, and I had collaborated with them. And I went up to Santa Clarita for a Harry Potter birthday party theme party. And I remember being like, okay, like this is a part that I could live in. Like this is okay. This is kind of out of LA.
Yeah.
It has a kind of a suburban feel.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I could do that. Or like I could go to like I guess I could have done like, what's the name of that town? My friend's living there right now, and I'm like, okay, I could do that too. Let's see, I can't think of the. Doesn't matter.
In LA?
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes out of LA. Pasadena.
Oh,
I could
that's where I lived.
Oh, okay. I
yeah,
could do
lived in
Pasadena. Like
yeah.
I could probably put up with that. But I like was living
Put up
in.
with. It's so expensive now. It's
well,
crazy.
right. But I was like living in Los Feliz, and I was like,
Yeah.
no. I was like, I can't.
I mean,
do this.
technically speaking, in LA right now, anybody could live anywhere because you just need a tent. That's all, and then you just you're good.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Sorry, but no, I definitely when I was called back here, I think I was definitely meant to be here. And then I keep telling, like that's the other thing about New England is like come do your experience. Like that was what I was so lucky is that I was able to just experiment. Like I know so many people that just spend like 5 years just trying to make that one short film, and I'm like, you can actually make that short film for like $1,000 and just like but like you could just it doesn't have to be the one. You could like learn from your mistakes and keep building. There's nothing that says like once you start filming something, you're locked in. Like I've now done 2 projects now where we shot the whole thing and then we were like we're doing this again and we reshot the whole thing. So. I think that I just learned a lot because I was like, I just want to put content out there. And then it just turned out that people were watching my content and it was, and I was learning from it and connecting with my audience and figuring out like what works and what doesn't work and giving a lot of New England local actors, content for them. And so it was always a win-win for everybody. But I've been telling all my friends in LA, I'm like, if you have $100,000 in LA for a budget, that's like $1 million here.
Well, yeah, and when I hear that you have $100,000 to spend on filmmaking and we're only making one film, I'm like something's going wrong here. I'm looking at $100,000. I'm like, we got 10 shorts we can make. Let's do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're gonna be fucking good. Like that's the other thing too. Is I'm way bigger on. I treat my crew the same way I treat like when I'm casting my crew. I treat it the same way when I'm casting for roles. Like I'm so much more impressed by talent and what you're going to bring to the table and your attitude toward work. I don't want the person who's going to be on set being like, why do I have to be here all the time? Like, why do I have to be here all day? I want someone who's like motivated and I end up working with a ton of young people, which for multiple reasons. One, because I have no money, and then 2, because I like they're so full of that piss and vinegar kind of like I want to like do this so bad for the rest of my life that they're willing to try and like do things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Charlie Norton's a great example of somebody who's young and wants to be like always. He's like, let's make a movie, like everything.
Yeah, no, I liked him, and actually I hired him to be on that Revelation set in Long Island. He was really amazing. But I've had a hit or miss. There's some kids that I work with his same age that don't have the drive, that don't have the motivation, and
I don't hire
insane.
them.
Well, I accidentally ended up hiring them, and then and then finding out like I used to work for free for so long, and now these kids want like $300 day rates.
Can we bring it back? The free working? I mean, this
I worked like 3 years of my life for free, and now someone will come up to me who's like has nothing on the resume, be like, I want a $300 day rate, and then like I was on a set. Let's see if I can talk about this. Yes, I think I can. I was on a set with someone who didn't have a lot of experience, who got that day rate, and then just wasn't very professional. Was very. Looked miserable, didn't want to be there.
Do you mind me asking like the age range, like how old they were?
I would say like they college age. Yeah.
That's the problem. So you can't like ask for money when you don't have experience. Like that's the thing that's crazy. Like you might even be able to like do the job and you might be able to do it well, but that like you got to use that first one as like, because here's the other thing too. Filmmaker people like, well, cast too. Actors are very dramatic, but crew people talk, and on the East Coast it's a very tight-knit group of like people. It's not an exclusive club, like we're very inclusive, like, oh, you want to make a movie, let's do it, it'll be super fun. Ben Heald, great example of somebody who's like, let me help you, but it is very tight-knit, so like everybody knows everybody. And if you show up and do your job for free and you work really hard, you're getting paid on the next one because you're going to get reached out to by me or you or someone else and be like, hey, you were on this thing, like you know what I mean? So it's really more about communicating and showing up on time and not bitching the whole time and like getting stuff done and wanting to make something cool.
No, I mean, like I literally, one of my first jobs, I was like script supervisor, and I was like, got paid nothing. And I was like outside in the freezing cold, like my hands were so cold that like the skin was peeling off of them, and I just did it because I loved it and I wanted to make a connection on that set, and I just don't really see that work ethic anymore.
I don't see it either. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. And so I keep my crews very tight knit, and I focus a lot on casting, and And I totally agree. It's like sad, you know? But the thing is that people, I do see that there's a little bit of a change when it comes to, like, as they get older and as they fall flat on their face, which you have to. I did. I'm sure you did, like, a couple of times. But, like,
Never.
as you get older, you really start to realize, like, okay, like, this doesn't work the way that I thought it worked, or whatever. Or you get older and you meet someone else who was the way that you used to be, and you're like, shit, that's not good. So I mean, it's a maturity thing, you know. But everything, I think we're all kind of set back a couple of years,
right?
Like 40 is the new 30 kind of deal, you know,
right?
Not for all of us. I mean, for like the millennial generation, like we're normal.
Because you're 48, right?
56
all right,
actually this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's great. It's not 60 yet, but I got a couple of
You're
years.
still alive. That's what matters.
Right. Yeah. This side of the grass. You know what I mean? Knock on wood. Yeah, I can keep up. I love when people can't. You know, that's why I'm happy to have you here, because we can go back and forth a bunch. But like, some people can't. I say stuff all the time, goes right over people's heads.
The only problem is I was like, it really works in New England, but when I went to LA, I made some, not enemies, but some of the students just didn't get my sarcasm, and I got a reputation fast.
Yeah,
and
people
then
don't get me at all when it comes to sarcasm.
Right, and I connected with some people immediately, and they got it. But there would be sometimes I'd be in class too, and I think I was accidentally insulting students, and I didn't realize. But also,
well, you're an asshole.
I mean, it's true, but I'm a smart asshole.
Well, same.
Like, and I'm going to tell you as it is, and that's why I struggled with at AFI. I love the experience. I would tell anyone to do it. I learned so much as a structure. I really, really learned structure is what I needed, and I will always be grateful for that. Not for the student loans, but I'll be grateful for going. But I went at 29, and a lot of the kids were just out of college. That was at their master's program directly out of NYU or something. And they didn't have the experience. They, like, a lot of them had never really been on set before, and I was constantly battling, especially my first year. My second year, I kind of found my footing with a good team, but I was in a writing class where I was writing about, like, Desperate Housewives characters, like women who just drink all day long and don't work, because that's kind of who I'm around. A lot of my friends are like that. And so I was writing true stories, like right out of, like, verbatim, like things that I had, witnessed. And I was being called by, like, these 22-year-olds, like, you hate women. Like, this is not how women are. And I'm like, actually,
this is exactly how
I'm like verbatim writing experience stories in my scripts right now. And I would just get so much, like, crap about it. Like, this one girl kept being like, when I read your scripts, I think you hate women. I think you, and I'm like, I want to make love to them, but I like them.
Right.
And
you're like, I can stand them.
I had one, right. I did have one professor pull me aside after just getting, like, ripped apart by, like, the girls in the group, who were all, like, just like, I don't know. It was like they were either from LA or they were just, like, 20 somethings. I just didn't get it.
Right.
And I was so discouraged, and I just couldn't figure out. And he gave me really great advice. He said, just hear the note within the note, because, like, and everything else, like, you definitely are older, you're definitely more mature. He's like, I understand. Like, these are my friends that I hang out with in Beverly Hills, whatever. This makes sense. So he reassured me that because I had that same performance anxiety I had when I went to Wagner in 28 when I was 18. Like, that whole, like, am I actually? I always have that imposter syndrome, like, where I'm always like,
oh, same. Oh my God.
I'm like, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. I'm actually not a good writer. So he reassured me, but what I learned was, like, for example, someone said, like, your character is, like, like, she always has a drink in her hand, and she's, like, always, like, drinking wine and blah 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 blah, and they're, like, giving me the attitude. But the note that I hear from that is, oh, I didn't realize that every single scene she has a wine in her hand. Like, do I want that for that character?
Right.
And the rest of it, I'm like, well, I don't care what they say. But it made me realize that note is actually them saying, like, I noticed that every time we see this character, she has wine in her hand. Are you, like,
are you trying to say that she's an alkie? Right.
Or is it just too much? Or, like, what's going on here? So that's what I took away from the criticism.
Yeah, I feel like there's and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm only viewing this or getting this view from the outside of, like, from someone who didn't go to college, but I want to know, like, is there a sense of, like, over critiquing sometimes, like, because you're in a classroom setting or because you're in that that set where it's like, well, you need to have a note because everybody's supposed to have notes or whatever. Like I'm very big on like giving a little bit of leeway, and sometimes like Harry Potter's not real. Sorry, it's not. It's not real. So you can't sit there and be like, well, it doesn't make sense that they have wands and magic. Well, magic's not fucking real.
Right.
So like you have to be able to just go with it. You know, Star Wars isn't fucking real.
That's what my dad would say about like Walking Dead. It was like we were saying something like that would never happen. He's like, also they wouldn't be taken over by zombies. So like we're already in a world that doesn't really make sense. So
right.
You know, or he used to always say about the show is like they kill so much zombies, but they never get any blood on them. And I'm like, and I'm always there as like, because it's continuity, and I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, man.
And the actors probably don't want to deal with it. Just like on Lost, you're like, wow, they look amazing with all that makeup on. Where are they getting that makeup?
Yeah,
you know,
like wow, really pretty people that just survived a plane crash and they live on an island.
Right, like the pilot, they at least they look like disheveled. And then by episode 3, you're like, oh, she got some Botox, I guess. Since we last saw her.
Do you watch any of those like Discovery shows, like Naked and Afraid or anything like that, or like what's it called, like? Yeah, Naked and Afraid, I think, is one where they like have to survive.
Yeah, I'll watch it every so often. I really don't have time.
No, I hear you, but I watch a lot of stuff. Like I will sacrifice sleep for like watching stuff because I that's how I learn. Like I absorb through watching content and stuff like that. I'm not going to read things.
Watched this new HBO Naked show?
Naked Attraction?
Yes.
Are we going to talk about this right now?
Okay, let's talk about it for a second. I only watched the first episode, but I like saw it in Hollywood Reporter. And I'm like, this can't be real. And I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, the Brits are very okay with the human body.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very. So on YouTube, there is a group of like content creators or whatever, and they do something similar, but it's all clothed. So like they have like a girl standing there, and then they have a host person, and then they have a curtain, and they raise the curtain, and they say, okay, like contestant number 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's kind of like Match Game a little bit, but not. Yeah. But like with dating.
Okay.
And like that old school one from the 60s that was like
Love Connection or
something. Yeah. Contestant number 1, like whatever, right?
There was also,
if we went on a date, like that kind of shit.
Right, yeah. But there's a British show that I really also liked called Take Me Out. Did you ever watch that?
No.
It was like 30 girls. It was only girls. I don't think it was ever men. It was 30 girls. They all had lights. And then they would go through 3 rounds where the guy would say like, oh, like he would tell a little about himself. And while they were doing the summary video, they could turn their light off if they were no longer turned on by him.
Okay.
And then he couldn't select them at the end. And then they would go down to like however many, at the end of 3 rounds, whatever lights were on, then he had to turn them all off and only 2 left and then pick one as the dating.
Right.
It was kind of a same. The British get it right. I'll that's what I'll fall asleep to. I'll watch a lot of British shows.
They're very entertaining.
I've been watching a lot of Taskmaster.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But anyway, back to this one.
Yeah, Naked Attraction. So, yeah, so there's one on YouTube that's like fully clothed or whatever, and but I feel like it's very American, like you know. But the Brits, they just don't care, and they like tear people apart. They're like, oh, that's too hairy. Oh, her boobs are lopsided. Oh, this or that or whatever. Like it's like,
right.
And they're standing. They can hear you.
Yeah,
like, you're right there. You know?
I kept thinking that maybe they can't hear them, but I'm like, so I've only really watched the first episode, so I don't think I've gotten into it too much.
Oh, I've watched like 10 of them.
I'm sure. Yeah. But like, I think the one I saw was the guy with the elephant tattoo around his penis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with a missing leg.
Yes.
It looked like Tarzan.
Yeah.
And then she picks him.
They did well. They were like together for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very interesting.
Yeah. Do you watch the women ones or do you just fast forward?
I watch all of them.
Oh, okay.
I watch all. I don't know why Americans are so scared of nudity. I don't know where that comes from. Just if you like look at and not getting political, but if you look at America as a
donut. As a bowling ball,
right? No. It's like a book. Like if you were to like pull a book off the shelf that was called America, and you're like gonna read about what it is, and it's like this land of the free, home of the brave, land of the and it's like, no, keep your clothes on. We don't want to see anything. Right. And you go to like Spain, and there's like nude beaches everywhere,
and they're swearing on TV too. Like they really,
What like we have all this free speech, and then we have constant FCC.
America feels like one of those things. If I pull the book off the shelf, I'd like I'd look at we have an amazing cover. The back would like have these amazing reviews, have a great story. You'd be great, and then you'd get to like page 80, you'd be like, "This is shit."
Yeah, like what the fuck
like,
are we doing?
This is a bad book. What am I reading? Like,
right, but the cover's why you buy it.
Right, exactly. It'd just be one of those things that I would just throw on the coffee table and never look at it again. And just always be like, "Oh, it's that book that I started reading." And I was like, "Oh no, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be."
Good base, like good ideas of like what it should be. Poor execution.
Yeah. My mother would always say, it's just like, that when like we all are gone and like 1,000, 2,000 years from now, when they're like digging up all of us and they start to learn about our culture, they're gonna think we're like the stupidest culture like ever to live. They're gonna be like, they were so stupid.
Yeah, they're like what were they thinking?
Like we look back and we're like, oh, that one time in Egypt when they all worshipped a dog, like that was really weird. Like they're gonna like, people are gonna look back at our history and they're gonna be like, wow, these people really
they're gonna say, wow, as the human brain got bigger, the species got stupider, it looks like.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, no, it's a cool, that's definitely a cool show. It's very interesting. To bring it back, to like TV and everything, but going along the same vein, this is my exact reason why I don't like Breaking Bad. And I love The Sopranos. Like it's one of my favorite shows ever.
No, I never watched. I watched the pilot Breaking Bad, didn't like it, so I never watched it. The Mad Men Breaking Bad, I never watched.
Mad Men's good. The first episode's it's a great pilot. Mad Men's a great pilot.
I think I watched it because I had to watch a lot of pilots at AFI, but I never got into Mad Men, never got into Breaking Bad. I also, don't kill me, but I don't really like Ted Lasso, but it's only because I think I can say this because what he's going to do is like, I heard Jason Sudeikis is an asshole.
Is he?
In real life, yeah.
Is he really?
So, yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
And I'd heard from, he had his like assistant was in LA and I met her at a bar like years ago, like when I was at AFI, like my first year, and she's like, oh, he's like a tool, like an asshole, a jerk, like you know, like it's so shocking that he hasn't been canceled. So then when I saw Ted Lasso come out, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's unfortunate. I don't like when actors are like that. Sometimes, I don't know, I feel like I'm misunderstood. I know I'm not an actor, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like I can even be misunderstood in some respects. Like, but if you come up to me on set and I'm wearing 7 hats and I'm in the middle of doing something, I'm sorry if I brush you aside. I have shit to do. It's not time to like talk.
No,
you know,
it's so funny. I'm working on the project I'm working on, and we keep telling the story at all the press interviews. Is that when I was hired to work on this pickleball show, the creator who hired me, Caroline DeMarco, she was on the Revelation set in Long Island. She was playing a waitress, and I was at this diner. It was like this abandoned diner that we only had for like 6 hours. We were lighting it for nighttime. It was like during the day. Peter Garrity was in the scene. I had to get him out by like 1 o'clock so we could get back to New York for an off-Broadway show. It was like, real, Hollywood drama. And she comes walking up to me and she's like, hi, I'm doing this pickleball show and you're a really great producer and you're great. I'm like, yeah, great. Call me in a week. Like, get away from me.
Right.
And I felt bad. And then she did call me. Like, she understood. And she always says that. She's like, I got it completely. Like,
yeah. The worst thing you can do with someone like me anyway, a way to get like a really bad, like tongue lashing from me is to like push back when I brush you off on set and be like, well, okay. I'd be like, you want to go home? Like that's my first. I'd be like, because I can't deal with this right now.
Right.
Like, it's like, you want to be done with it?
If you ask me any question that has nothing to do with the set right now, I will. It's just because my brain's not even. I can't even process that. So I'm like, why would you even try? So
yeah, there was one time we were shooting this pilot for a show that I never ended up following through with, but we shot the pilot and it was good. And we ordered lunch, and Charlie Norton was my AD.
Was it the 2 house one? Were they like next door neighbors?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. See, you do remember things.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Charlie ordered lunch, and I heard him order lunch, so I know it's not his fault. Like, he absolutely ordered my lunch. And I gave him the card and like, go do the thing, whatever, right? And I'm like helping set up for the next scene. And all the lunches, everybody's lunch showed up except mine.
Oh. And
like, honest to God, I don't even use the bathroom while we're on set. I go in the morning, I pee, and then after we wrap, and I go, thank you very much for coming, I go to the bathroom. That's it. It's the first thing I do. Where's Nick? He's in the bathroom. Yeah. And I don't really do anything except drink water and like vape and just sit there, and I'm like doing stuff all day long.
I don't eat either.
It was super cute, but it was almost aggravating. The lady whose house we were in, she was also an actress. She let us use the house. And when Charlie got back, he was really like, shit, like we didn't get the director lunch. You know what I mean? And he's such a nice kid.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, what do I do? He goes to Kim Fogler, amazing actress, love you.
Yeah.
And he goes to Kim and he's like, Nick's lunch isn't here. This woman starts taking stuff out of the freezer. She's like making lunch. Now here's the thing though. I'm like, oh my God, that's so sweet of you. We're shooting something right now. Like,
I know.
please don't start.
Put it back
We're
in the
shooting in
Yeah.
the kitchen. Like,
Right.
please don't start making them. Like,
and then what's going to happen
know.
is someone's like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm making lunch for the director." And then everyone like now is like, "What a asshole!" Like,
literally,
and you're
it's
like, "No, I didn't ask
yeah.
for this."
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
I don't eat on set at all, and because I just am so focused, and
Yeah.
now I've gotten such a reputation for my hangry taking over, and now people know, so I'm like assigned. Like even on the pickleball thing, like or I just did something else, and they were like, "There's people that will come up to me and be like, you need to eat now," and I'll be like, "No," and they're like, "No, we've been told that we need to watch you eat, like take your meds, like
yeah,
because they're like you start to change, like who you are as a person when you start to get hungry." I'm like, "No, I'm just really focused." They're like, "No, there's definitely a change. Like 6-7 hours into set, we could tell you're getting hungry and you're getting vicious." I'm like, "Oh, am I?"
Yeah. No, I get like that too, and also the I don't sleep well during shoots. I tend to like my shoots. If I get hired for something, if I'm an editor, I go and
Well,
sleep.
I don't care.
Yeah.
That's my
Well, and I do care though, and it's mostly I care about my role. So like when I'm hired as an editor, I like to be on set during the shoot.
Oh.
Because I want to know, I take notes on every take, and I very close to the director, and I want to know, like, you know what I mean? Like, not for me, for them, because I know that, like, if you just get handed, I mean, I have been handed a pile of footage and, like, here, edit this, but it's like you're starting from square one, as opposed to, like, knowing, roll 2, take 3, that's a good take. So I can start there, I still watch all the footage and everything, and I'll pull, like, reaction shots and everything else, but I like to be on set as an editor because I like to like know everything. I like to read the script and really like be into it. And then it allows me to like come back, edit a full script cut based on what I think. And then when the director shows up to do the editing like with me, I'm like, okay, well, why don't you watch this first? And then we can tweak it as you see fit. Because I've been there the whole time.
Yeah.
And then if they don't like it, then it's like, okay, well, we have all the other, this is like based on what we said was good on set that I was there for. Yeah. And it saves months and saves tons of money, but it saves months of work because it's like done.
Right. Well, I mean, that's why I also am an editor, so I edit all my content. So
cool.
Not anymore. I'm now don't have to do that. But when I was doing Family Problems and all the web series stuff, I was editing that. So that's why I was filming it, I was directing it, I was writing it, I was editing it. And that's why I got 220 episodes out over the last 8 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's like in house. That was the best thing I learned because I was, and now it's also great because when an editor tries to charge me $1,000 to do something I know will take them 20 minutes, I'll be like, I'm an editor too,
Yeah.
And the minute I say that, they're like, oh, and I'm like,
right.
I'd love to have you do this, but I'm not. I know this is going to take an hour. Like, don't bullshit me.
Right.
And they're always like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that are not editors, and I'm not trying to out editors. I mean, editors should get what they deserve, but editors do like to overcharge if they think that you don't know what editing is.
I think there's a little caveat there. I think there's two types because I was the opposite. So I was the person who was really big on. I think it comes from a place of like I had no money, so I was assuming that other people had no money, and so I was big on like, oh, this will take me 20 minutes. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, and the same thing. Yeah,
but you end up shooting yourself in the foot because now you're not getting paid, and then there's some douchebag out there who's like, that'll be $700 for 20 minutes worth of work.
And that's why I was like always that person when they would start doing that to me. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna fall for that shit. But I learned the hard way that something that like I'll edit someone's reel for them, and I know it's only gonna take me like half an hour, but then they'll give me like 47 notes. And then I'll realize, oh, that's the 10 hours I forgot about.
Well, 100%.
So I'll be like, I'll feel nice. I'm like, oh, it's $100. Like, I'll get this done. And then after like the 80th note, you're like, should charge them $1,000. Like, what was I thinking? So that's what I've learned the hard way. But
yeah, no, the editing of or the revision period is really where like it can. But like you also have to be, listen, a big thing in this industry in general is like being able to communicate. If I direct something, whether I wrote it or not, but if I direct something, I'm editing it. And that's like kind of a package deal. Like that's what I say. If you hire me, I want to edit it. I don't want to sit there. I don't want to pretend that this guy or girl knows what they're doing with the editing room. And they could be doing 20-year vet. I'm going to sit there. I need to look at it frame by frame. Otherwise, I'm super annoying. And I'm the person who's like, can we just go back 2 frames? you don't want me sitting over your shoulder is what I'm saying,
Right.
like in the editing room. So like, I'll just do it. Just let me do it. You know?
Yeah, right.
Like
yeah.
that kind of deal. But and I think I always will. I don't care if it's like a $60 million movie. Like I will sit there and edit the movie. You know what I mean? Because I like that. And
Right.
that's where I got my start. And it's, to me, it's like, I've said this so much, but it's true. It's like making a painting. And like the actors are the paints, you know what I mean? And the crew people are the brushes. And the canvas is whatever the frame is. And then you don't actually make the painting until you're in the editing room. So it's like there's 3 versions of everything: the script, the shooting, and then the editing. And by the time you're editing and you look at the original script, I mean, do you follow on Instagram, like, I don't know what it's called, like script to screen or something like that, and they scroll the script at the bottom of the
I've seen
thing,
that.
right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if you've ever actually sat there and read anything that's like there, like some of the words match up, but it's never correct. It's never exactly
no,
right.
no, no.
Like even like the action line, like they
Right.
don't walk when they're supposed to walk, they don't talk when they're supposed to talk, and it's the editing.
Yeah.
It's like finding the best performance and putting that out, delivering the message the right way, you know?
Right. Oh yeah, totally. There's like, I've always was taught there's 3 different movies: the one you think you're gonna make, the one you're making on set, and then the one that you actually make in post-production.
Right.
So I'm always telling people that when I'm producing, especially new films, I'm like, what we're doing right now is not going to be what is going to be in the final edit.
Mm-hmm.
And so just know that you're going to be making these different movies at different times.
Yeah.
And because some people will, but me, because I've had a lot of history, I will be on set editing the movie in my head while I'm doing production, and I'll slowly start to realize on like day 2 or 3 like what's not working, and start telling people like, just so you know, like we need to start to pivot a little bit, or else you're not gonna like what you're gonna see in the edit.
So you run a little production company, right? Angelwood?
Yes. Angel Pictures, yeah.
Talk about that. How'd you get that started?
Yeah, I started that in 2009 when I did The Dreamer. I needed some sort of production company, and I was working with a friend. Her name was Jordan Angelo, so she's the Angel, and I was the Chitwood, so Angelwood.
Oh, cool.
And I haven't worked with her in years, but I just started to get known with that brand, and I just never really changed it. And then because people just knew that, and so that's just what it became, and just we've done so many projects under it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're 15 years old now, almost. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Let's take a quick pause commercial break.
Okay, cool.
Because I can see my phone's going off. I think it's Mark thinking we're almost done, so I can.
Oh yeah, we were at an hour and 1. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, we started a little late, so let me.
That's fine. I'll cut it out. And we're back.
And we're back.
That was great. That was a great little break.
Yeah, I like that commercial. I like the one with the monkey and the popcorn.
Thank you for making my life miserable with the editing later. Thank you. Appreciate that. But that'll be great. Hopefully, yeah, at some point we'll have commercials, but not yet. So it was just a little swipey swipe transition.
Sponsored by Dental.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
It'd be great. Dentists make a lot of money.
Yeah, right.
So Angelwood, we were talking about.
Yes.
Good stuff. And now you're 15 years old.
Oh, the company, yeah.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah. And you have stuff that's in production.
We do. Well, you know, it's so funny. I've been kind of pulling back. I used to have so much in production, and now not so much anymore, which has been nice because I've been going to the producing world. But we do have one project right now that's in development, in pre-production. We already kind of met with the cast once before, and it's called He'll Be Home for Christmas, and it's 6 episodes. Shoestring budget, shooting like an episode a day, basically. And
it's so funny when you say that, because not cutting you off, but your shoestring is definitely bigger than my shoestring.
My shoestring is like 50,000.
Okay, my shoestring is like 5.
I know, but yeah, it's true. My shoestring was 5. Now 50. When I'm
3 years, 15 years.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I'm working right now with people trying to raise like $1 million, so I'm like 50,000 is a shoestring budget.
No, I know.
So I got to remind myself, but
in this economy,
it's a cool concept. It's every episode's a different Christmas day, and it's about a father who passed away, and he somehow returns from the dead, not like in a zombie way, but returns, on Christmas, and it's kind of like This Is
like
Us.
a Jack Frost style.
Yeah, kind of, and then gets to check in with his family and see how they've been without him for the year, and it's like them. It's like having a different interpretation of grief and loss, and so there's like happy moments, there's some drama moments, but it's basically a family that just is trying to cope with his loss, but still having that moment. It's kind of like it's a This Is Us feel as if Jack came back once a year, because that family really, if you know This Is Us, that family really cherished that father. He was like the central part of that family, and the trauma of losing him is like, is coursing through their blood for like 20 years. And so this is like, and some characters love him coming back and some of them don't, because there's just such this different. And then one character loses someone halfway through and for good. And so then that character has to cope with, why does his family get to have him once a year and I'll never get to see that one ever again or whatever. So no, it's great. It's a small little cast of 10 people right now, with one or two guests, and filming in New Bedford, Mass, which will be fun. And so we're working on that, and still working on the pickleball thing, which has been really fun, developing that and seeing where we're going. We shot our pilot, and now we're just kind of shopping around and seeing who's interested. And that was really a fun experience. And I just did another pilot in Hudson Valley. I'm just kind of seeing what happens.
So this is a good spot. So this is final like topic that I would go for, but like we can talk about it. I was gonna say like last question, but it's not like a question answer thing. It's more of like a general. So we talked about in the beginning with like college and when you were doing like 4 or 5 things a year. Now you're down to like 2 things a year, but like, and you may not even know concrete, but in your head right now, what is the future of Seth Chitwood? If you could have it like if everything goes according to your plan, like what's your goal? Like what do you want to do?
I'd love to be a showrunner for a TV series that lasts 4 or 5 seasons. So I'm just waiting for that call to be like, we love the concept, we love the show, here's a bunch of money.
Are you WGA now?
No.
Oh, okay.
I had an opportunity to join, but I decided not to yet.
Yeah.
Because in New England, you don't need to be union.
I hear you.
And so I wasn't ready for that. I also qualified. I got an email I qualified with the PGA as well, and I was like, I'm not doing that either. But yeah, I think
I'm not doing that either.
Not doing that either.
Yeah, I'm doing nothing.
I will do it when I get told I have to do it.
Right.
No, I think that would be to have a steady paycheck and be having even if I'd be okay even if I wasn't a creator, even if I ended up being just the showrunner for a creator. I'd be happy with that too. I mean, it'd be great to have all of the pieces, but I would be happy just to even be a co-showrunner. I want to have like some creative writing control and producing for a television show. And the world is changing so much in the indie field, especially with all these streaming services that are coming out. Like every day I just learn about a new streaming service, and I just think that's the new golden era, is going to be all these streaming services that are all looking for that show that's going to like put them on the map.
Yeah. Well, this is never like a better time to get into this industry than like right now.
Right. And right now I'm trying to really, this is what I'm doing with the Christmas thing, and I'm trying to tell other people. And it's just funny because I when I talk to Hollywood types, like we were talking about earlier, like they're so
old school.
Well, they want these big budgets. They think they need $10 million to make a show.
Ridiculous.
And I'm like, we can do
the exact same
thing. 6 episodes, small cast. We have to just be like very open-minded about, this is indie, this is not big, we can bring in an actor or two, like figure it out, do a $500 day rate if we want with them, do it for like 50, 60,000 and create content and then package it and bring it to, and then just pick. I just feel like there's going to be and the lower you can do it will help too, because if you try to sell to a startup streaming company $1 million project to buy in, they're gonna be like, no. But if you're like, hey, this is a $50,000 buy-in,
exactly,
they're gonna be
totally
like,
agree.
yeah, sure. I knew things were changing because recently, like Family Problems and Lungs and World's Worst Director and Testing, all those Girl in the Attic, all those shows that I made have been sitting on YouTube collecting dust for like 5-6 years now, and this entertainment company called C13 Entertainment came along and said, we are a worldwide distributor company that's just looking for any kind of content, any level, anything.
Yeah,
and
we need stuff
to sell to like Tubi or Freevee or like all or international streaming stuffs that you haven't even heard of. We want to catalog these and we want to put them out there, and then you get like, we'll split it 50-50 or 60-40 or like whatever
it ends up being, right?
And I was like, they're just sitting on YouTube collecting dust, not doing anything.
Why did you say no?
Why not? And so the fact that like I sent this like catalog of like 100 episodes of different stuff to them, and I just keep getting all this feedback being like, this is really great, thank you so much, like and already getting like residual checks and stuff. It's kind of cool, not high ones, but it's still something.
Yeah.
But
it's the beginning.
But the fact that like 4 or 5 years ago, they were like, oh, this will just live on YouTube and it'll just die on YouTube or something. And now all of a sudden, there are people are coming back to me and saying, anything, I will take anything. Like, please give me content.
Right.
So I think there's something to be said that there's like, we're moving in that direction. And I really, really do believe I'm seeing the writing on the wall that they're going to start to, these lower tier streaming networks that want to become the next Hulu are going to start to buy up content that works, and the lower the price you can package something at. And I think they're going to be very free. I don't think they're going to be a studio where they're like, you need to pass this person, you can't do that, you can't have this, like, or you can't do that. I think they're going to be like, they're going to watch it and they're going to say yes or no. And the good news is if they say no, there's 200 other streaming networks that can either say yes.
Right.
So,
well, and the benefit there, right? Because a lot of people might say to something like that, and I'm saying like the average viewer or the skeptic or the pessimist listener is going to be like, yeah, but they're no Netflix, they're no Hulu, they're no nothing. But the problem that I see is that as these things continue, Netflix used to be like $6 a month, and now it's 20. Right. You know what I mean? Like everything, yes, they're big, but they're getting to a point across the board where like I have HBO, right? I have Max, but it's always been the same price. And it was the expensive one, and you got great quality content out of it, and it's never changed.
Right.
And it's now you have even more because of Discovery mashup. So like but like everything is going to be $15 a month. And I'm sorry, but I'm not Bill Gates, so I can't have 7 subscriptions at $15 a month and pay bill. Like that's insane.
What they need to do, and I was thinking about this literally last night. I was like, okay, I subscribe to Apple, and I don't think I've watched an Apple Plus show for like 3 months, and I've been still paying $6.99 or whatever. I wish there was, I mean, I understand their model. It's like a gym membership. Like you buy a gym membership and you never go, and the gym makes like all that money off of you each month because you forget to cancel. Like I get it. But, you know, and that's what they want. They want you to subscribe and then never look back. And then 3 years later, you know, they've had all your money. But I wish there was a way where like if you like you pay at the end of the month or something, if you hadn't watched a streaming network for, you know, if you hadn't even touched it, their content or logged on for a month, they don't charge you or something.
Right.
At least you have that backup. And then like because I know some people that actually will do that. They'll open up a streaming network for 3 months, they'll watch as much as they can, and then they'll like discontinue it. And then like that's what I did. I really liked the Good Wife, and then they did the Good Fight on Paramount Plus. And there was like nothing else on that channel. So I waited till the season came out. Then because it aired every week, I waited till the whole season came out.
Watched
the whole season,
and then
canceled the subscription.
Yeah.
And then did it again when the next season came out.
Yeah.
Same with Showtime. Like I did Showtime, I watched Yellow Jacket and the new Dexter series, and then I just canceled it.
Yeah.
So like but no one's smart like that, you know, to save the money. So I think that's like how people are going to have to navigate. Or what's going to end up happening is, which I could probably see, is some of these streaming networks are going to get bought up by the Hulu, and they're going to be bigger packages. So it's going to Hulu's going to say,
they have stuff like that with Amazon right now.
But they're going to start going into the lower ones. They're going to say like these apps are going to try really hard to market themselves. So Hulu's like, okay, we'll also take like the tennis channel. I think the gossip I can say is that I've been around a lot of actors, and I will say,
I never talk shit about actors. I always talk shit about crew people.
I will say that the actors, it's just so weird for me.
Why?
Because I'm now working with a little bit higher caliber actors that should act like, you know, a little pretentious.
Yeah.
So it makes me like go back and remember like these like Rhode Island or like New England actors that just were a little cray-cray.
Yeah.
And just
pretentious,
putting up with it. And I've learned from them, and so I have a much more like better attitude when I'm working with like higher level. But I don't know. I don't know what gets in these actors' heads. And
See, okay. So can we talk about like each other for a second?
Sure.
So like you scare me a little bit because you're like secret scary. So I'm very outwardly, openly scary. People don't like me right away. Or they no one ever questions like what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? So I like on graffiti specifically, I'm like, okay, got to get close to this guy because then we can talk shit like together. You know what I mean? But it won't be like about me. You know? Thank God. I don't know what you do on the way home, but I'm saying like, you know. But like the thing, and I don't mean that like you're fake or anything. I don't mean that in a bad way. But I have no problem being like on set and being like, you're being an asshole, so we can either stop this right now or that's me, because it's never a fight, it never escalates. Calling people out, they're always like, Oh,
No, I definitely people would tell me that I'd freak people out on set, and not in a bad way. Like, well, one, I'm really good at sarcasm, and you don't realize I'm insulting you, or you think I'm joking, but I'm really able to say how I feel outside in a joking way, but I'm really to your face telling you what I feel.
Yeah.
But I know, but if I am joking around and being sarcastic with you, it means I like you.
Yes, yes. If I'm making fun,
if I don't talk to you, I don't like you. But
because they're not worth your time,
right? Yeah,
that's exactly right.
But I used to before monitor days, I used to have to stand behind the camera a lot and look in the monitor, especially when I was directing or producing or whatever. And I used to have this very focused face because I'm thinking of a million things, and actors would
Wicked RBF.
They would freak out. They would tell me, they'd be like, "Can you not stand in my eye view?" I'm like, "I'm more looking at you, nervous, and you're making me really nervous." Not in a bad way either. They're like, "I want to impress you," because that was always the worst. I will say my biggest pet peeve, and still to this day, when I'm directing, and less when I'm producing, but when I'm directing is when an actor would say to me, "Were you happy with that?" And I used to be like, if I wasn't happy with that, we'd still be filming.
Yeah. Do you do meetings in the beginning before productions or no?
We'll do some, yeah.
So mine, because fuck, no, I shouldn't say that. I'll do a quick little safety meeting. I was gonna say fuck safety meetings, but they're kind of
they're important.
Yeah, but the people that listen, they're gonna be like, he doesn't do what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, but the meetings are more disclaimers about myself. You know.
Right.
It's militant. This is what we're doing. It's not a discussion. I didn't say, hey, let's do this, and that means give me your idea. It means let's do this and get it done. You know. But with regard to actors, if I don't say anything, or if I'm good, moving on, that means it was perfect. That's what you gave me, what I'm looking for.
Right.
I'm not gonna blow you just because it was. You know what I mean? We need to move on.
Yeah.
We're on a schedule.
I mean, I'm
giving you money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to move on.
The only trade secret I will tell anyone who is an actor who wants to work on a set with me, if I ever do go cut, and I'm moving on, it just means we didn't get it and we're not going to get it, so we'll just move on. That might be when you're oh fuck. But if I'm great, moving on, good to go, I'm good because I'm a perfectionist. I want it to be as good as it can be. So I'm always shocked when an actor comes to me, because then it makes me also question. I'm well, are you not confident that you gave a good
that's
performance?
Exactly where I go with it. I'm wait, so do you want to do another take? What else can you give me?
Right.
Why are you not giving me 100%?
I think we're good. We're all set. And I'm walking away. I'm feeling comfortable. And then when an actor's
100%.
are you happy with that? I'm what do you mean? Because I'm happy with it because I'm done. But now if you're questioning it, you're sending me down a rabbit hole I don't want to go down.
Yeah.
So that was always my biggest pet peeve and I'd always turn around and be well, if we're moving on, then I'm happy with it.
Right. 100%. I agree.
But yeah, I would get that a lot. And I think the biggest thing too is because I think we start to become friends with our actors too and our cast.
Well, you live with these people for the week or whatever.
And it's it's the one industry where you start to blend personal connections and working connections. Whereas at all other industries, I think it's you can separate it. In a corporate world, you can have your office friends, but not really your outside friends. But they do kind of come together for the most part. But I would really connect with some of these people, and I was always surprised when they couldn't check our friendship at the door before coming on a set, and that they would judge me and my behavior on a set versus how I am outside. Yeah, when we're having wine or just chatting or hanging out.
Yeah, and I think there's a big.
It blurred a lot for a lot of my friends, and I regret it. I regret that I have lost some friendships because of that.
Do you though?
No.
You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a super bitchy way, but if do you want to be friends with people that don't understand that work is work? If you're paying your friends and they can't understand that they're there to.
Well, there's one or two that I sadly regret that we're still not that we ended up not being friends anymore. But
fuck off,
not all of them.
You
but
fucking hate them. You don't give a shit.
No. I just
they
wish
died 3 years ago. You didn't go to the funeral. You didn't even send flowers.
I will go to their funeral. No, I think that I would have. I have one friend right now who she and I have decided that we are just going to be friends now, and she's not going to work on my set anymore because she just wants to be friends. And,
this is how I am with family. I don't work with family ever.
Right, and I love that she did that because sometimes I'll be like, hey, you want to do something? And she'll be like, I just think we're just friends.
Yeah. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah,
Let me know how the set went. Yeah.
No, right. And I really respect her for that because she saw a friend in me and wanted to continue that relationship because she didn't like how sometimes I was on set. And I will say that and this is years ago. I mean, I've learned a lot now. I've kind of matured. But when I was out there, I was definitely a crazy person in some regard because I'm doing 1,000 things at once. And
I know.
I was always impressed about how people would judge me for being on set for 13 hours, 6 days in a row, like, you know, doing 15 things at once, including the camera, the catering, the set dressing, the directing, the producing, the editing, and doing all that stuff.
Clipboard, and then, knowing where everything is.
Yeah, and then like when somebody would be like, wow, he's like stressed out. Like, I'd be like, well, you know, can you blame me? Like,
yeah, all you have to do is move a sandbag, and I'm sitting over here doing
right.
reels.
Or like my favorite thing is like when an actor, this happens every. It's less now, but like it was my biggest favorite thing was like. Not my favorite thing. It was like I'm working crazy, and I get an actor who will be like, I've been sitting and holding for 2 hours, and like I'm really bored, and this is ridiculous, unprofessional. And I'm like, okay, we're about to call you to set, and then come to set, they wouldn't know their lines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what were you doing holding for the last 2 hours? I'd be freaking the hell out if I didn't know my lines. I'd be using that 2 hours to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And then they would blame and be like, well, I had my lines, but because you made me sit and wait for 2 hours, now I don't know my lines. I'd be like,
yeah, that makes zero sense. See, okay, so for me, right? That is my first thing would be like, okay, we're wrapped for the day, and you're fired. Don't come back. And I'm dead serious.
No,
I
wish I had the balls like that. I have definitely given.
This is why we work well together.
Yeah.
We were on Graffiti.
Right.
You would come up to me with the clipboard when we were on Graffiti. You'd come up to me with the clipboard and be like, Nick, we are so behind schedule. Like, Charlie, turn this fucking ship around.
Right.
Like we
Remember
got
when they were like bribing the janitor? They were doing that last scene.
Yeah.
And then what was like and nothing to Charlie, because he's definitely gonna watch this.
Charlie's awesome. Okay,
yeah, but nothing to Charlie. But remember that they had done all the graffiti in the bathroom, so they had decorated everything.
Yes,
but then they were trying to finish filming up into the last second that we had the building.
Right,
and I kept being like, "But you're not putting in the time.
Right, we need to build
clean.
In. Right,
because we're gonna say to the janitor like, oh, we're done filming, but we left you with an entire stall full of." Graffiti,
right?
Like, you know, like we have to also clean up,
right?
So
and blood
like,
on the wall,
and blood on, It's like that's a big thing. It's always that's what always kind of people forget too. Is that
but then we had like
taillights.
You know, like 10 or 12 high school students from that high school that were in there scrubbing the bathroom,
and that was great. But I've had sets where like you, especially the PAs, where you're like, we're wrapped for the day, but I'll be like, no, that's the actors. As the crew was like running to the door, and I'm like, no, that's the actors.
I was on. Oh my god,
come back.
I was on a set. It was an Emerson College shoot, and I was on a set recently, like a couple years ago, and the gaffer, because it's like when you're at a film school, they have stuff for you to check out, so they brought like a whole truck, like a grip truck worth of equipment into this restaurant, and we shot all day, and then at like 11 o'clock at night or whatever it was, they just got in their cars and left. And like me and the director and the director's girlfriend, who wasn't even part of the production, had to like pack up this entire grip truck. We were like, are you like out of your mind? Like, this is crazy. I couldn't yell because I was just, you know, AD editor or whatever. Like,
did you? I don't remember because I don't even remember what we did this morning. But I was like,
clearly, you didn't remember that we knew each other.
Right. Is that on Principal Assembly there was a moment where I don't know if you stayed behind with me, but we're filming at that restaurant. We had 2 days in that restaurant, and not to like put this person on blast, but like.
Well, we don't have to say their name.
They're going to know who it is that the cameraman, the DP, like left the camera just sitting on the table in the front of the window. It was like a $20,000 camera.
It's like 60. Okay.
And left. And I'm like trying to text him and be like, do you want me to move the camera? Because that's the one thing I will never do on a set as a producer. I will never touch a camera because I feel like that's that crew. I never want to ever be responsible for like accidentally pressing a button or getting something on the camera. So I'll never touch equipment. I'll always be like, can someone move this equipment? Or I'll move a C-stand, but like I never want to touch like lights and stuff. No, I know. And knowing me, I will. And then I'll be like, they'll be like, Seth tried to move it. Like I tried to dim a light once and I blew a fuse and I was like, and they were like, it wasn't your fault, but it was just funny that you dimmed the light and it blew the fuse.
Right.
But I just remember he left the camera there and like literally like in plain view, like on the table, like not even boxed up because he was like, oh, we're coming out tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but you're leaving it like in the window of this restaurant.
Right.
You know, or like you might as well just put a break-in sign on the door. Yeah. So I was like slowly moving the camera and putting it under the table and putting a sheet over it. But I was like, well, who just leaves? And yeah, that was the only time. But that was a fun set though. It
was fun. It was a good time.
And Pam Morgan
she made it fun too. She's
awesome. Yeah, and she's like she made that film too. It's her performance. It's a great film, but it's her performance that's like carrying that film to what it is. And I tell her that all the time. I say because it keeps winning Best Actress awards and stuff. She's just a really really good actress. And
I'd love to have her on. I'd love to have both of you on because remember I was on that. Was it on that shoot? Yes, because we shot at the same high school again.
Yeah.
As Graffiti. So,
Right.
but when we were sitting there, like, I was like, oh, this would be great, you know?
Yeah, we have a good rapport, her and I,
Mhm.
for sure. And yeah, there's also yeah, she's a good friend. Like, she's one of my closer friends.
But she's funny and she's sarcastic and she gets it. Like, she gets
and we have a good rapport. And she
Right.
gets my sense of humor and I get hers, and for the most
Yeah.
part. And
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, and that was a fun time working on that. But no, I definitely learned a lot. I've been like debating, but I just don't have any time, is writing a book about
Oh my God.
just like actors in general, like as like a warning advice for like indie, directors, producers that want to start off, because there's just like the stories I could tell about these actors. Like, we could do another podcast about it, but I was like, I'm just so grateful. Back then I was not, but I'm grateful now because I've learned so much on how to handle an actor, that I have become an actor whisperer. On the pickleball set, we had some issues here and there. It would be so funny because like a production person would be like, oh, they're having a problem with this person, and then I would walk in and walk out and fix everything in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's from experience, but also I just know how to speak
To people.
and
Right.
into that headspace as well. And I know exactly what's going through their head, and most of it's just insecurity and stuff like that too. That's kind of coming out. But I will say the other big thing too have you noticed that there are really, really good actors that can audition well, but then it turns out they're not good actors on set?
Yes, I've
What
also.
is that about?
Well, so I've found that there's a lot of, and I don't like this or approve of this, but there is a lot of acting classes out there, and their main goal is teaching people how to do self-tapes, how to audition, how to like get in the room, how to schmooze, how to whatever, and that's like not what I'm looking for.
What is your take or thoughts on actors who create their own scenes for their reel?
Oh, like they edit a thing, and it's like if it's a car scene, they shoot it in a car.
Yeah, that, or they'll write a scene where like 2 people talking at a cafe. And
No,
then
I don't. No. I send you a thing from the script, and you're gonna read that. Or if there's no lines, and you're like, if your character doesn't have lines or whatever, and I want to see an audition, I'll send them a monologue.
Oh no, that. But I'm saying like these there's actors that I think they don't have enough material for their reel because they're not getting jobs, so they go out and they create their own content.
Oh, go for it, whatever.
I think it works, but it also doesn't work because sometimes that's again, you're getting a very like, they're in control. They've edited their best stuff.
Yeah, but like that's what auditions
they're
are
on
for,
set
right?
and stuff. Yeah, but then I think they don't have set experience. I think it's very different from
I don't care
being on a set. I don't know.
It doesn't bother me as much, only because like if you,
I understand you want to showcase you, but I've had so many people that you watch this amazing reel and you get them on set and you're like, oh, like
people don't even know how to slate these days. It's insane. Like, I want your name, your height, and your age. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear like what college you went to. I don't give a shit. It's not a resume.
Right.
Like, just tell me like height's a big one. Like, I want to know your name and your height, and then just cut to your scene and start doing your scene.
But but there's something up because last year I worked with an actor who had an amazing self-tape, and it was like a 2-page scene where it was like mostly them talking, and then they came to set, and actually part of that self-tape was in the scene, and they were like not memorized. They kept failing. They were looking at me.
Yeah.
Their eye contact was shifting. It was just, and I was like, I don't, it was weird. I was like, you gave it a super impressive self-tape, and then you came to our set, and I was like, oh.
So do you do callbacks ever or no?
Now I do. No, I do. No. I will. But sometimes when you're doing like a day player or something quick, like you sometimes, like this was for something where I was like, I need someone to play this neighbor in this one scene.
Yeah.
Their self-tape was great. Like I think I know them from Reputation fine.
Yeah.
And this in particular person I had auditioned before, and they had a reputation on themselves, and because a lot of actors like to like really buff themselves up on social media, and you just can't tell what is right. And then they come to set, and it's like they're really good at marketing themselves, auditioning themselves, and they're not ready for set for some reason, or they psych themselves out, or they self-sabotage. I don't know what's going through their head, and I try to make it as comfortable as possible for them, but I am finding lately in this area that the actors are very prepared until it's time to reach the set, and then they don't know how to break a role. They don't know how to really like get in they don't know how to like scratch they scratch the surface letter with their performance. Like,
Yep.
you know, sometimes they don't even read the whole script. Like,
Yeah, that's annoying.
I'm like, I'll talk to an actor and like I'll try to like give them, I'd be like, oh, so like, you know, where do you think your character came from before the scene? And they're like, well, I don't know. You know, there's nothing else. I'm like, well, where do you think you just came from when you walked in? You're like, how was your character's day? And they can't even answer that. They look at me like, and I'm like, so
Right.
who's ever teaching these classes out there? I mean, I'm power to you, but you're getting them to the set and then they're they're flopping on the set like a fish, and then they're not, their reputation is being like great, like, you know.
So I'm big on self-tapes. I love self-tapes because you can get 500 self-tapes. And then you whittle those down to your top 20, whatever, and I'll do callbacks. And I love like in-person callbacks. And all of my casting calls always say self-tape audition, in-person callback. And if they can't, and I've texted actors and said, loved your self-tape, do you think you'd be able to come into the studio for a callback, whatever? I have received responses that are like, no, I can't come in, but I'd love the role if you want to. And I'm like, nope, thanks. And you'll never hear from me again because now you're unreliable. So like, I'm dealing with you as a person. And if you're also good, great. But like, I think maybe it's from the editing experience. I don't know, but you can make a bad actor look really good. In editing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
I just lived through that. Yeah.
So like, I would much rather have a good person that I can kind of like mold into a good performance, as opposed to this amazing performance who's never there, doesn't show up, can't come in for a callback, can't do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I will say the people that are really good, I have them in all of my shit. I will call them and say, I don't need auditions for this. Do you want a role?
Right.
Like,
and
done.
What's so funny is a few years ago, and it's less now, is I used to get this accusation from people being like, you're using the same people over and over. And I'm like, yeah, because they're reliable. They show up, they do their shit, and they get it done. And like, why would I just keep rolling the dice on people that I don't know? Because every time I do, it's always like a 50-50.
Name a famous Hollywood actor that's only done one film.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So why do you care when I use the same people?
Or like Johnny Depp and Helen Bonham Carter with Tim Burton. Like they all the same. They did like 11 movies together. Like, you know,
Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So like he knows what he's gonna get. And then the other thing I was gonna say too is that I'm always so. This is advice I'll say to any actor is like, if you are going to reach out and connect with a person, you better like. Okay, let me rephrase this. If I post,
Take two.
I post an audition, and somebody says, you know, oh, can I get an extension? And then like, I know it's due Friday, but can I give it to you on Monday? And I give it to them on Monday. They say, sure. And then they blow it off.
Oh, you're done. I'll never work with you. I don't give a shit.
Done. But if I had sent you an audition, like I saw how people reach out to me and they'll be like, hey, I really want to be in your production. Like, let me know when another audition is, and I'll send them one, and then they won't respond. And I'm like, that's fine, because like you read it, you chose not to.
Yes.
You could have written back and be like, thank you, I'm going to pass.
Do you invite, like on Backstage, you'd be like,
I'll invite,
I invite
like,
all the time.
Who cares? Or I'll send emails because we're in my database, because people will always be emailing me like, let me know. Sure. And sometimes like they'll blow me off. That's fine. I don't care about that. Or they'll write back and say, hey, thanks so much, but the dates don't work, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm super busy,
but
whatever.
If someone starts a communication with me and I have to go through email after email with them, and then they end up just like not doing their audition, like that, they're done. Like I will, like, if you took time out of my day to help accommodate you and then you blew me off.
Right.
I don't know what that's about. And
100%.
That's really scary.
I know.
So.
It's and then I love it because this is one of the situations where people would think that like on the outside looking in, or the actor might feel like, oh, you're an asshole or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, good. I'm an asshole. That's fine because I don't want to work with you either. So like, we're good. We're good. See you around. Goodbye. Get the fuck out of here.
I think,
Yeah.
And but I'm, I've been lucky because I'm working with like the Christmas cast, and we're very excited about the people we're working with, and everybody's so like motivated and excited and happy about it. And,
you have to be.
And I'm finally surrounding myself with the actors that are taking it seriously. But I'm not going to say all actors don't take it seriously, but I was just always so surprised when actors are like on Facebook or social media, be like, I never get a role, and then you give them a role, and then they just don't know what to do with it.
Right. I've found that like the more professional and the more successful, the easier to work with.
Right.
I know it's strange because we just talked about Jason Sudeikis being an asshole and all this other stuff, but like, you know what I mean though? Like generally speaking, you can tell if someone is a professional actor for their main job, 40 hours plus per week. Like you can tell because they know what they're doing.
I also find that like, and this is like, I was just talking about with someone the other day, I said, if they don't have much of a social media, like if they don't have, I mean, the website fine, but if they're not posting all the time, if they're not like doing all the social media buzz, if they're not like commenting on Facebook, that means they're a good actor because focused on that. They're not
Sure.
focused on the rest. I'm finding that the people that hype themselves up on social media thinking that's what's going to get them the role, like 8 out of 10 times they turn out to not be great in the end.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like come off rude, but I just want to say, like, I think people should be taking the time to hone in on their craft.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah. I also find that like if there's listen, I get it, like, because we're talking from a perspective, like we know what the production is going to be, and there's a lot of like not creepy but just shit producers out there who like they've never done it before, and then they act like they've done it before, and then so these actors like that should be or like want to be taking everything and like getting roles and stuff, they have to be a little wary of like, what do you mean there's nudity, like what do you mean, like that kind of stuff. But I will say, when I post something, and nudity is a big one, but if you like check the box, and that thing I was talking about, the kid got shot in the shower, right?
Yeah.
The kid that got the role, right? He was like, yeah, I'll whatever. What do you want? Full frontal? Okay, great. Let's go. Doesn't matter. I'll show up. I'll do it 10 days in a row. I don't care. And I was like, we don't need all that, but thank you. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had 50 other men texting or emailing me being like, so when you say there's some nudity,
right?
Like, dude, you're an actor,
right?
It's not you, it's the character, and we're not making something for Pornhub. You know what I'm saying? Like it's tasteful. It's a movie set. You're getting paid. You're getting paid double what every other actor is getting paid because you have to do this. Like, don't like. I wrote a script and it was a pilot, and there was a gay couple who lived across the street from a lesbian couple. It was a comedy, and it was based on real events, and it was like hilarious. It was very, very fun. The amount of, I do not like this at all, because I don't know what your orientation is based on your profile. You know what I mean? It's a picture. And I have an idea of what I want characters to look like. And I'll invite. And I would get responses from actors who were like, hey, just so you know, I'm not gay, but I'd love to play a different role if you... No, I invited you for this role because I want you to look like this character.
Right.
And I'm not...
That's interesting.
I don't
you
like
say
the whole
that because
like gay people can't play, or straight people can't play gay
Right.
people. Or like I'm looking for someone to pretend to be something different. Okay,
Well, when
I mean, I'm not going to do blackface, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
right. When I first started, I was going to say that I oh boy, I was going to say.
Do you get what I mean though?
I know what you mean. I was like, when I first started, I wanted to do more gay characters, and I remember like constantly people saying, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable doing that," or I don't want to do that. Like there was this.
Yeah, but it's 2023. Everybody's gay.
Now they are.
They're like flip
now
flopping. They don't know what the hell they are.
It took until 2019 for me to finally do my short film Out, and I used 2 actors that were also in the LGBT community, and we made it a great film, and it's doing great in festivals, blah blah blah. But like I remember I was working with this kid who was like in his 20s, and he was a really good actor, and I said, hey, I'm doing this film and it's about this gay character, and before I could even stop, he was like, I don't play gay. Like he was like freaked out that I even asked.
Oh, so he was closeted. Okay.
Who knows? But
well,
I just like
happens.
I think people get very like freaked out about it. But also I think that like this has happened too. Like I did a project where we were very like open front about there was going to be like a low cut nightgown, and it's about sex and blah blah blah.
He was supposed to wear a low cut nightgown.
No, it was a girl.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, you said gay character.
Sorry, no. I changed subjects. I do that a lot.
That's all right.
And
just trying to follow along.
No, it's fine.
Seth Chitwood show. And I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Go.
But I was saying that I worked with this actress. She knew what she signed up for. We shot this beautiful thing. It was out, and then not out the film. It was out in the world.
It came out. Yeah.
And then like 3 years later, hitting me up on email being like, I'm not really an actor anymore. This is the first thing that pops up when I do job interviews. Can you please remove this? And I'm like,
no.
And I mean, I've usually say no, but this person was relentless, and so I ended up taking it down. And then what's funny was then like 3 weeks later, the other actor that was in that scene was like, why is this no longer available online? Like I always tell, it's like you can't even click on my website anymore. Like this is my favorite scene. I'm like, call this person for me because. Yeah.
See, again, this is one of that's I hear where you're coming from, and I'm not. It's nothing against you at all. I would. It says in the model release that I have, like in perpetuity, I own this image.
But there's this like new world.
Oh, I don't give a shit. I have lawyers. We're good.
Yeah.
I'll fight. Oh, I'm so stubborn.
You do.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'll fight, and I'll fight on behalf of other people. Like I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I worked with an actress on a it was another like college film type deal, right? Where the actress had to wear like it was like a dress skirt. I don't know, it was like above the knee, but it wasn't like crazy short. And it was chilly.
Yeah.
Like, and then she complained that we didn't have stand-ins for setting up shots, and that she was standing outside for a while. I'm like, bring a fucking pair of sweatpants.
Right.
I'm not your mom.
No,
you know what I mean? And like, yes, you have to make people comfortable, and like, I get that, but like, it's not a hotel. We're working.
Right.
We're all uncomfortable. You knew the game. Like, you know what you're doing.
I will say that's the thing with there's this weird thing with actors. They come to set and all of a sudden.
But I have like one story.
Right. Oh,
like,
no.
I don't have 50.
I have,
you know what I mean?
1,000. But
I
I'm saying,
usually
but
work
they
with
turn
really
in,
decent actors.
They turn into these like children. It's like, how do you even function in real life? I don't understand. It's like I come to set and like you are basically gonna hold my hand and tell me what to do, and like all of their basic like needs fall apart. I mean, they're not all of them, but a few. And I've just unfortunately, I got stuck with some of them, and I have friends that will always remind me of the people I somehow attract, into my projects. Less now, but like before, I was somehow just getting like the runt of the litter every so often. And then being like, oh, like, and it was always would always start off the same. It would be like the first few days would be like, they're amazing, I can't wait to work with them, they're great. And then by like the 8th day, when I've already shot like 5 or 6 days, and they kind of have me over a barrel, then they realize they have me over a barrel, and they know I'm not going to fire them because I already have more footage than or whatever. So I think they're crazy just starts to come out because they let their guard down. They let their true crazy come out, and you're like, oh god. And so I've seen it all, and I've learned a lot from it, and I have no regrets, but I don't know.
Yeah, if you didn't have those, you wouldn't know to look for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I know how to look for them, and now I can kind of feel them out a little bit better for the most part. Some still slip through the cracks, but now I'm like, now what I'm doing more is rehearsals. I used to just jump right into it.
Oh, I hate rehearsals. That's funny.
Well, I try to do at least one so I can hint.
You're not wrong or right. It's
no,
just
no.
But like, why? Can you tell me more?
Well, I'll do like a table reading, or I'll do like a blocking rehearsal. Or something.
Same.
Well, especially because some like for the Christmas thing, or like we're going to be doing like 15-page days. We're going to try to shoot like an episode a day because I want to do this like very Marriage Story style where it's like the camera's constantly moving and it's really like you're in the zone. And I think this, it's very much like a play within a movie kind of idea.
Interesting.
And that's the kind of approach I have. But I think that if we tried to like block out and get and discuss characters and be the moment too much, on the day of the set, we'll run out of time immediately. So I wanted to have the opportunity to like sit with an actor and have them ask my questions and just get on the same page. So we were feeling on the same page. So I'll have these like, I've been doing rehearsals more than, and finding that actors are very open to doing rehearsals and stuff. They want to feel comfortable on set and whatever.
Right.
But it is also secretly my way of sniffing out the crazies and figuring out if this is going to work or not.
Isn't that like a little late though?
No, I would rather
just know. You just want to know if they're crazy, and then you adjust how you deal with them.
That, or if I can adapt, great. If it's not going to work, then we'll try to find someone else. But I get the heartbeat of the cast. I get the heartbeat of the actor, and I'll figure out how to like, what is this going to be a problem?
Yeah.
Or do I have time to change some lines around, or do I have to change like, well, what can I do?
Right.
And it's not all bad. I just I think that I need to, for my security, to know that I'm gonna have a successful film, I need to like get to know these people a little bit.
So that's an interesting way to put it, because I think that there is like, so I view filmmaking in general as like an art form. You know what I mean? And not every, like, there are some really cool paintings by Picasso, but some of them look fucking weird when a girl has like the 3 tits and 2 eyes over here. Like, that's weird. Yeah. Sometimes they're really cool, but sometimes they look bizarre, and they don't.
Tits are weird in general.
Sure, great. But what I'm saying is like, it's not, it's art, so it's subjective. So it's not always going to be a hit. It's not always going to be the most successful thing in the world. And I think that as filmmakers, we put so much pressure on ourselves to like try and make it like perfect for the masses, and you try and have these politically correct moments, or you try and conform the right way so that the cast is happy, so that the crew's happy, so that it's like they're all there taking your money to execute your vision. Just make it your way. And this is my opinion of the way that I go into filmmaking.
Yes.
And if the people that you surround yourself with are not like, if like everybody's pulling in the same direction, and you got like one person who's pulling off that way, another person, but goodbye, I'll do your jobs. I've done your jobs, I'll do your jobs. No. You know what I mean? I want people, the best way to have a good set experience with someone like me, when it's not when I'm working for someone, when I'm like, you know what I mean, like head of everything, is like just show up and do your job. We're gonna have a great crafty. It's gonna be an awesome lunch, and we're all gonna have fun. We're gonna go home. You guys are gonna go home with your paychecks, and I'm gonna sit there for 3 months editing. You know, like
no, and that's I think that's where if
You
I
need to
could,
get
if I
bitchier
could tell
up front.
if I could tell actor anything, just always remember the mindset that I've worked on this for 6 months before you got there. You're coming on set for 4 days, and then I'm going to be working on this for another 6 months after. And I just, it's frustrating. And when someone just doesn't take it 100% seriously, or they think they do, like, I mean, I think the thing also that shocks me too is like people be like, I've always wanted to work with Seth Chitwood. I'm so excited to work on Angel Picture Production, and then they just start bossing me around like I've never been on a set before. I'll be like, well, I've seen it. It's funny. Like they'll be like, have you ever, or someone who doesn't know their research about me. That's always my favorite thing. But when I first started off, though, I remember there was one time I overheard an actor on the other side of the wall, not knowing that I was listening, say something to the effects of like, oh, I was told to do an Angel Picture Production because it's great for my reel, so I'm just going to work really hard on the 2 or 3 scenes I know I really want for my content. The rest I really could care less. And I
said this to you?
No, to another actor.
Oh, and you heard
and
this.
I was on the other side setting up the shot, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's what they think.
Yeah.
And of
my
course, back
blood
then,
temperature is
I know
like
you would have
going,
like walked around and stabbed them in the throat, but I was
yeah,
like, I was
like
oh,
4
okay,
times.
Moving on, but like it was yeah, that's the shit I dealt with moving.
That's great. It's funny because like I would hope that those scenes are not imperative to the story because those would be the ones that get cut out of the film.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
like
then,
I'm a spiteful bitch. I had the last
problem. I had the last laugh because it took like 6-7 months to like come out, and then he kept emailing me, be like, can you send me stuff for my reel? And I'd be like, oh, sorry, no.
Yeah.
Like, that's also my favorite thing. Like, actors don't ever like 3 days after you shoot email me asking for clips for your reel. I had someone do it, like I was on set recently where someone literally like that next day was like, hey, even if you just send me the rough draft, can you just send me some like rough stuff for my reel? And I'm like, are you nuts? Like, that's
I've been, I gotta admit, like I've been really blessed when it comes to the talent that I work with.
I guess
I'm very self-deprecating. I'm admittedly an asshole. Like I'm very stressed. I don't sleep. I hardly eat. I don't do anything. I just want to make the movie. And all of the actors that I've worked with, for the most part, have been very understanding. And the coolest thing, so I had John. Do you know John Potvin? I feel like you would know him. He's like pretty decent. Like he's in a lot of shit.
John
Potvin.
I don't know. The name's
he was on a few weeks ago. He is like, he'll show up to every film festival. He'll show up to every press thing. He'll show he is all about the whole experience. He'll show up to every rehearsal. He'll do it 500 times. He'll ask you if it's good, not to like because he's insecure about himself, but he wants to make sure he's getting it done your way. And you can be behind a monitor, behind 30 people. He's on set, and you can yell, put more emphasis on this one word, and he'll make a huge adjustment. Like he's very talented. And I mention him specifically because he is incredible to work with, but he doesn't just show up, do his scenes, and you never hear from him again, and then ask for real footage. Yeah. He like will show up, and then he'll like follow up with you. So like, how is this festival doing? Like, when can we go? What times are you going together?
Right.
Like, do we doing like the VIP thing? Are we doing like should I buy a ticket for my girlfriend? Like, he's right there.
Yeah.
Like, it's very helpful.
And I've worked with those actors too. I love it. There's an actor, Frank Sarnowski. I don't know if you ever come across him, but he was one of those guys that would like show up, do his job, but then he would stay and he'd be like, and become a PA or become a production manager. Be like, what can I do? What can I stay? Can I run out? Can I get anything for you? Can I help you? That was really great. I'm sure there's a bunch of people now that I say that, like I want to like name other people, but it's not coming to my brain. But there's like a lot of
Sure.
And then like I worked with Wendy Hartman for a long time, and she would always try to help the best way that she could, and I have Maureen Flacco, I have Jen Waldman. Like there's all these people that just love Karen Martino. Like a lot of people I've worked with a lot that will go the extra step.
Where it's not, and like even just the offer. Because I'll be like, no, it's fine. Just sit there and look pretty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do your actor thing. Be fine. Relax. And I'll take care of it. But thank you for offering. It shows that you give half a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Marty Smith is another one. Do you know Marty Smith? She's really great. She would always help out, and it was amazing on set too. When I would work with her, Martine Ossoff is amazing. Yeah. There's just so many people that just like that come to your set and they work with you and they want to also help enhance it with you. And that's also amazing for an actor, but I'm always surprised by the actor that shows up, doesn't really know what's going on, doesn't even know the lines, and then walks off the set being like, I killed it. And I'm like, good luck to you.
Like, you got to be kidding.
Yeah.
No.
But my biggest thing is like when I see directors or producers stuff like doing their like starting to do their like I'm not attacking you, but I'm just saying.
Yes, you are.
No, you're different. But
all
I was gonna say I've just noticed that when I start seeing industry directors and producers and actors start doing like podcasts and vlogs and stuff, I always think to myself, oh, they're not working.
That's exactly why I started this.
Right.
Because work was incredibly slow. No, it's
like,
true. But I also
yeah.
wanted like an excuse because like I don't care if you're a PA or an actor or a background person or a costume. Like I really actually genuinely like talking.
What I like about this is
industry
different
people.
is when I start to see like an actor be like, I'm gonna start teaching classes now after they've been doing it for like a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, or a director that's like, I'm gonna start like doing my tricks of the trade and you're gonna have to buy my $100 class or like whatever. That's when I'm like, oh, they're clearly not working anymore. They're clearly like not busy and they need money or something. And I don't know.
Well, when people sometimes they treat podcasts and stuff like the allure, if you will, for me with regard to podcasting, because I do like it. But I'm a talker, so if we were to hang out, first of all, it's an excuse to get together for you to like drive up from East Ass, you know what I mean, or South Ass or whatever. You know what I mean? To like come all the way up here. Otherwise, like we would just be like messaging each other on Instagram. You know, like, hey, how you been? You know, like. It's an excuse to get together and have a conversation. And since I'm a talker, like when I hang out with people, there's a lot of sitting and talking. Like it's normally like a therapy session when I'm hanging out with people. So it's like, if that's the case, why not film it? And then if you also have stuff to promote or if you have what, like great, you know, but there's some interesting conversations. Yeah. And I want to hear the stories that are like, it's that shop talk, like in between takes. Like that's really what this is all about for me. And that's the stuff that we would talk about anyway. So why not record it and put it out there? Yeah. But you're right. There are people who are like, oh, well, I'm not. So let's start a podcast. And if you listen to them, they're dog shit. Like there's nothing fun about them.
Yeah, not to name names, but there's someone that's like doing it right now. And I keep thinking to myself, like, that person was really busy and now they're not. And I wonder like what's going on. And I wonder if there's more of a story there. But
yeah,
you know.
It's so funny because like I started this and it's like I said, this is episode 14 and I am extremely busy right now. Like extremely busy right now. For the next like 3-4 months, I am like, you know.
So I can't wait for this to come out when it's completely outdated. But
it's coming out on Monday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. It's gonna suck, but it'll be fun. No, it's you.
Thank you. Because it's gonna suck. Because it's me.
No, it's gonna suck, but it's gonna be fun because it's you.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's all right. So you only have headphones. I'm like right in your ear, but that's okay.
It's fine. All right. Well, this was really fun.
Wasn't it?
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you driving up. I know it's far.
I know it's fun. It was definitely worth it, and we're gonna experience Newburyport and parts of Ipswich as well, which is cool.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
We saw the fair coming in, which was
Topsfield
today.
Yep,
yeah,
fair,
and I think it's a fine name, Topsfield, but whatever. Anyway, it's great to see
stories
you.
after we're done.
Yeah, it's great to see you, and I would definitely come back and let me. I'll try to bring Pam.
That would be super cool. Yeah, I'd love to have you and Pam on. Okay. I just feel like that'd be a great dynamic. Like you know what I mean?
Should I just bring different people on for you? I'll just be like, come with me.
More than welcome to. If we get sponsors or anything and it ends up blowing up, which, you know. Like the thing is, that's the other thing, really quick, in summation about this too. Because now I'm insecure because you called out podcasters.
So sorry. I'm going to get killed for this.
No. It's okay. But like, it's also motivation for the future. So like, if I start to like fall back on like, myself, I can go back and watch stuff and be like, oh no, I should not, like keep going. Like you know all these people, Nick, and like you know all these, you know, like it's like a little bit of like there are people there, you know. I'm horrible when you talk about imposter syndrome earlier. Like I'm horrible with that stuff. Ryan Collins had like read me the riot act when it came to the podcast because he was like, why am I texting you to be on your show? Like why are you not hitting me up? Like we're friends. Like let's go. You know, and I'm like. No, because I'm insecure and I thought you'd say no, even though we're really good friends.
No, and I'm going to say it's real 100%. Like the other day, I was saying to someone, like, I'm having super imposter syndrome. I went to go to the Bridgeport Film Festival for Out. And I was like, it was like I was I was watching other films. I'm like, oh, they didn't watch my film, but I'm not supposed to be here. Like, this is a mistake. And I actually had to like go to the back of the audience and sit there to watch it because I was horrified. Yeah. And I was like, imposter syndrome is worse. I still have it. And I just like, I will continue. And the same thing, like sometimes I'll reach out to, you know, higher up actors and be like, they're not going to give two shit. And I've actually learned that you will, like pickleball, like I would just reach out to their agents and just be like, hi, like this is the day rate and this is the project. Do they want to be a part of it? And I actually got some great responses. Like it actually is, you can actually get some people that you think that you're not going to get. So, because everyone just wants to work. And
well, that's the thing is like if you're in this industry, it's not because you don't like making movies and TV. Like you
Right.
like doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So if there's an opportunity out there, people generally want to do it. You just have to weed out the good from the bad.
but I do love
You know?
podcasts. And I have like 2 narrative podcast ideas. So maybe
Narrative podcasts.
yeah, I've never gone into that domain. I'd love to figure it out.
That'd be interesting.
I'll share it with you after so no one steals it. But yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I might steal it if you share it with me.
No, we can collaborate. We'll do it.
I'm
You have the
down.
equipment because
I
mine
do.
would be like
And
a
I'm
tape
totally
recorder.
mobile. Like I can like undo everything and
Oh, cool.
pack it up in a bin and take it. Yeah.
All right. Well, there has to be a part 2 eventually for this.
No, I totally agree. We have
Yeah.
to dig deep into some other stuff.
I know we definitely scratched the surface, which I
Mhm.
told actors I didn't want, but I did it anyway. Such a hypocrite.
It's okay. We're both hypocrites.
All right. Well,
It's all right. It's fine. Where can people follow you for the people that listen that don't know you already?
yeah. So www.angelwoodpictures.com has all of our stuff and all of our content, and then just find us on Instagram and Facebook and all the different places.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out the TikTok world.
Oh yeah, TikTok's good.
And what's
Yeah.
this new thing that I'm not doing yet?
Threads?
Yeah, I haven't done it. I haven't
Me
even
either. I won't
opened
do it.
I'm
I'm
not
not
trying.
I have enough.
And I didn't renew my
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. That's it.
Yeah, and I didn't go to X yet. I haven't done it.
Yeah, I tried it for like during the Johnny Depp trial, and then I was like, I'm over it. Done.
Yeah, I mean, I had Twitter obviously, but then I was like, when I went to X, I was like, I'm not gonna log back in.
Oh really? Wow, bitchy.
I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I tried it when it was Twitter, X, the whole. I just don't care. It's too
Yeah.
much. Like, same with like the subscription services and everything. Like, I have my HBO, I have Netflix. I'm good. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you remember Clubhouse?
No.
Oh,
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
no. That
Oh.
Clubhouse that started for like it was during the pandemic was that place that you could like people would do like podcasts and stuff. You could listen. You could like time in. It was like it started for like 6 months. It was like it blew up. All the influencers were doing it, and then it like died.
Mm.
But it was like you had to be invited in, and it was like
Yeah.
I remember that happened during the pandemic. They thought that was gonna be like the next big thing.
Yeah, this is the opposite. You have to invite yourself.
Right.
For here
Yeah.
anyway. You know what I
100%.
mean? You have to like, please, like, hit me up and be like, come on, yeah.
Well, Nick, you're amazing.
You're amazing.
I just want to let you know if you need to hear that, you are amazing, and I hope that we continue to work together. And thanks for having me, and I can't wait to think of better things to say next time if I get a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we can do top. Yeah, if you get a chance, I want you to come back. Come back tomorrow. I don't
Oh,
care.
boy.
I can't tomorrow, but like come back
Yeah.
next week or something. Whatever you
Yeah,
want to do.
we'll see.
No, I don't mind at all. I think it's great, and I really appreciate you driving up. It's super fun.
Well, now that you said you can disconnect everything and be mobile, you could have come down to Rhode Island.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to do that. I wanted to see how committed you were.
Yeah, well, next time you come to Rhode Island, I'll take it out of Newport, and
Yeah,
I can be your wingman.
yeah. Okay,
I don't know. I'm a bad wingman.
that's all right.
All right.
You can be. That's fine.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, fine. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Good stuff.
Love.
Love is love, and love everybody always.